Hey guys, so today I thought it would be fun to make some fog. In other words, we're going to make this beautiful, relatively simple isometric, I guess it's like a monogram logo. So it's using 3 letters to make a word, but they're all together in one nice little isometric cube, essentially. So to start, we are just going to make a pretty basic page. So I'm just doing 8.5 by 11. Actually, let's change that. We'll make it 11 by 11, just so it's nice and square. And I'm going to go create. Then I'm going to pull up my isometric tools and go show grid up here and go spacing. We'll do 0.3 and division of, let's just keep that at 1 for now. Sorry, my voice is like a little messed up. I just had COVID and my throat doesn't know that I'm over it yet. So it's a bit tricky trying to like say words and stuff. So I'm hoping it won't be too insane for this. So we are going to make first in the word fog, we are going to do the F. So we want our snapping, our force pixel alignment and our snapping on. There we go. And then we are going to go into just our rectangle tool here and we want to click edit in plane. Oh, my voice is so bad. Yikes. Okay, so let's zoom in and grab that rectangle tool again. And we are just going to draw the F. Now I'm going to start on the side plane like this. So I guess maybe I'll just draw it for you quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to make, oh, I've got the stabilizer on. Let's take the stabilizer off. We are going to do an F like this, and then an O up here on this plane, and then a G down here like that. So yeah, like that. You get it. So it's pretty simple, but we do need to make the right shapes on the right planes. So starting on the side plane, we are going to do our F. So we just basically draw it because we've got our edit in plane, and it's all conforming nicely to our isometric proportions. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 8. And let's actually double that up. Yeah, make it nice and thick. So we've got, it's 2 by 8. 2 by 8 for our side there. And then I'm going to just alt drag that and bring that up to here, make it 2 as well. And then I'll also make it, I think, by 8 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That might work. Yeah, I think because we're doing a cube, we do want everything to be pretty much, I guess, cubified. So everything should be equal. So height, width, everything should be the same. So in this case, that will be 8 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 down here. Okay, now let's get a color you can actually see because this is not showing up very well. It's just a super light gray. So why don't we go something that's nice and showy, like a burnty orangey color. Why not? Okay, so that's the start of our F, and we'll bring that down a little bit to about maybe here. I think that works probably. I mean, it definitely reads as an F, so I think we're good. And now we're going to do the top plane, and we're going to draw that letter. So I'm going to draw the individual letters first before I give the letters any depth, if you know what I mean. Make sure those look good. So I'll draw the O next, and then the G, and then I will give each letter its depthiness. So for now, we will do the O, and we'll do the same with the 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I don't have to count. I can just bring it down here because we already know that's 8 across. And I'm going to give that a color too. What about a yellowy? Yellow's nice. We'll go with that one. They're not exactly very foggy colors, so I may change that. So that's isn't really an O. So we can just put another one inside of that. So it's all 2 around, and then we will just select both of those and hit divide and click on the one in the middle. That didn't work. I'm sorry. Why didn't that work? What did I mess up? Okay, so I just hit the wrong thing. I needed to click subtract. There we go. Now, is that all aligned? Yeah, that's all aligned. Good. Okay, and now we will make the G. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. and get on the front plane now. And I'm just going to actually bring this part, that one, I'm going to bring that arm over. Arm? Yeah, I guess it's an arm. And I'm going to go fit to plane. So it just automatically becomes exactly on the front plane where I need it to be. And now I'm going to choose another color for that one. Let's go beige, 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 beige pink. Okay, beige pink it is. And G, let's see, we want, I'll just copy that, make it by 2 again, and bring it up to here because that will align with our edge here. And I'm going to Alt drag again, so I have my top. Now we have a C, and we just need to add a little bit to make a G. Now that works. I don't actually need to have like another part coming in. I mean, I could. Ooh, yeah, I like that better. It works both ways. It works that way and that way, but I think this reads just a little bit more as a G. So that's good for me. I like that. Okay, so we have our word. We have our word as fog. Now, because you should always save. Okay, I haven't actually saved, but I mean saving your vectors while you go. So I'm just going to drag that whole thing, bring it over here so I can see it, and just save that within my document in case I need to go back and change anything from the original shapes that I've made. And now that we have our saved fog, and I did save the actual file, which is important, now we can go and give each letter a little bit of depth. So I'm going to use the pen tool for that. And we'll start with the F and just make sure we are drawing on the front plane because that is where I'm going to be drawing. And I'm just going to, usually I just do it by like a 1 thickness, but here we've got it by a 2 thickness. So we want it to be 2 thick. So if that makes sense. And we just make it have the front color, and then I take away that stroke. I might put a stroke on later, but right now while I'm building the shapes, I'm going to keep the stroke off just so I can keep the shapes themselves like nice and crisp. And this, I'm just going to do the 1 because I can't go any farther with that. And just make sure it's that color. Oh, we've got a stroke. And then this part will be the yellow color. And we'll do the same, just draw it with the pen tool. Penny tool. Probably should have on my top plane, but I didn't really need to. And get that onto our fill color. Okay, so our F is done. I don't really like the combination of colors like that, so I may change that. I think the problem is like all these colors are like the same, what's the word I'm trying to, they're all the same like shade wise, like they all have the same amount of white and black in them. Like this one's a bit darker, but it's not like a lot darker. So like if you turn the whole thing to grayscale, there wouldn't be a lot of contrast basically. So I want to put a little more contrast between these colors. So I'm gonna have to kind of mix these up and see what I can do for them color wise. Oh man, my voice is nuts today. Okay, so let's do the O next. And again, we are going to be drawing on the side so we can get this color in. And it's going to be our lovely little burnt orangey color, but it's going to be for the fill. And then we want to draw on the front as well. So I'm going to use the pen tool and just draw again like so. And this will be our beigey color. And yeah, now I like the colors even less now. So yeah, we're definitely going to change these up. Okay, so now we just have the G to go. And what do we do? Let's go with the top first, which is going to be our yellow. Now, obviously this would be a 2, but it's just going to be under this G hat anyway. So we won't do that. We'll just need to do the 1 thickness. And take away that stroke. All right, there we go. Still hate the color. And we will do the bottom part here, which goes all the way to the edge. And same thing. Why does it keep adding a stroke? That drives me absolutely insane. And then we need to have the red color. That's what I'm trying to say here. There we go. Red color. Again, stroke. Please go away. And zoom, my eyes are going crazy. I can't even, oh, I can't, the yellow needs to be there too. That's what's going on. I was like, what is happening with this? So I need my side, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle in there. There we go. Yeah, that was getting a bit crazy. So I need to add another anchor point on here so I can lift that one up. There we go. Because that would be two thickness anyway, so it would be going over there. It wouldn't just stop right here. Okay, so now the problem is this looks super weird because my G, this shape, doesn't actually have anything here. And the problem with that is that if I add anything there, then my F is going to turn into an A. I'll show you. We'll get it on the side plane here. So I can add like a little bump out to give the G some depth. But now we have, well, it's not really an A, but it's definitely not an F anymore. And then we lose all legibility for our little fog word here, which is kind of a problem. Now, what you could do is make it super tiny like that, but then it just kind of looks stupid. So why don't we take off our grid so you can see it a little bit better. And yeah, I need to fix those colors. So yeah, so I think all I've been able to do so far is just not have it, and then just basically add a stroke, and that seems to help because it's just weird how it looks, but like I don't really have another option here. I can't just add another shape because then that juts onto the F. And some letters are a bit easier. Like if this was an A, then you wouldn't have that problem. But because it's an F, you're missing this whole kind of shape part here. So I think maybe we add a stroke and we'll see how it looks from there and then go from there and see what happens. But before we do that, I think we are going to change the colors here. So I'm going to select the color I hate the most, which might be this weird skin color. Is that even like a skin color? It's like a weird pinky beige color. Yeah, I think I'm paler than that. Yeah, okay, anyway. Select same fill color, and let's see, what do you want? Like maybe a bit more orange? Am I making it worse? Oh, and actually, no, that's slightly better. Okay, so yeah, okay, that one's a good one. And now it was able to change all the colors that were that pinky color at the same time, which is wonderful. Now, how about the red color? Let's do the same. Select same fill color. And then we'll go back in here and we will adjust to, oh, too bright. That's too bright. Way too bright. No, I hate it more now. No, I kind of liked a bit more orangey, but maybe a bit darker. Yeah. Maybe a bit grayer. Okay, yeah, okay. And now for our yellow. For our McDonald's yellow. No, it's too pale for McDonald's yellow. It needs to be a bit brighter. Not that I want McDonald's yellow. We don't really want this to look like a hamburger. Actually, that it kind of looks like a hamburger bun yellow. Yeah, okay, that's where I'm getting that from. Okay, I don't really want that, so because we're not talking about food or anything. Maybe an orange. No, I kind of liked having it a bit more yellow, but like a super bright yellowy orange color. Maybe. It's looking more like food, and it's supposed to look like fog, or foggish anyway. What if we did like a blue? Maybe a blue will solve this whole problem right up. Yeah, honestly, it's not bad. It's looking a bit more like a tech logo though, with the blue. Dark blue? Blue? I don't know. Maybe I need to look at like some color schemes or something so I can get some better ideas. Yeah, I don't know. Not really liking any of these. I think the lightish yellow was probably the best, so I'm gonna go with that for now. Although I could just go with like a black. If I go black, yeah, it's not bad actually. What do we think? That or the yellow? Okay, we'll go yellow for now, but I will go and save this. Save my shapes over here, and I'm just alt dragging that, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make everything nice pretty shapes. So rather than having these made up of a bunch of shapes, I'm going to make them all one shape per letter, that is. So pressing shift, I'm going to click all the letters I want to be together and press add. So now the F is all one letter. The O, we already did that because that's how we built it. And now the G, shift select, And they are all going to be one beautiful letter now too. Hooray! Okay, now that's fun. And now we can add a stroke and see how that looks and see if it actually works. So we want a dark stroke. Let's do like a dark orange, maybe. And then we'll give it, getting too much. Do I want rounded corners or sharp corners? Probably want rounded corners. Yeah, we'll stick with the rounded. Rounded, I think, works better when you have like isometric shapes. So let's see. We want maybe like a 2-point stroke. Yeah, 2's not bad actually. Maybe a 3. Should we try a 3? 3 also kind of works. Yeah, okay, 3 works. All right, so I found a color scheme on Pinterest that I kind of like, and this is like a kind of like a foggy, I guess foggy or cloudy color scheme. So we could try this one instead, but before we do that, I am going to save that over here, and then we will go back and do what we did before with the select same fill color, and I'm just going to select it from here. So we can make that one maybe the light one. No, I said the fill color, not the stroke color. Honestly, there we go. Okay. And then we will do the same with this, select same fill color, and we'll grab the dark color. And here, actually that's not bad already. So we'll do select same fill color and that one or that one. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that actually works. And then I'm going to grab the whole thing and make it so the stroke color is also this dark color. And how does that look? Ooh, nice. All right, I'm going to drag that way over here. That's kind of nice. Yes. Okay, I like this. I'm not sure how well it reads. Does that read as fog? Well, it kind of reads as fog. I like how all my reds and yellows and green or oranges are just completely gone now. We've gotten dark. We went from like Adam West Batman to Christopher Nolan Batman. That's what happened. That's what always happens. It's inevitable. Okay, now what can we do? Well, I could give it some inside, so it actually looks like there's something going on. Because otherwise it's kind of still a weird shape with this G. Another thing I could do is maybe make this a little bit more blue. So select same fill color and just a little bit of saturation over here. Little bit more. And then we can do the same with this top color here. Select same and just a little bit more blue. Yes. Just a little bit nicer. Ooh, a little bit of green. Okay, yes, okay. It's just slightly funner. I mean, fog is obviously very like atmospheric and moody, but I just didn't want all the grays. I like fog. I like fog a lot. So as long as I don't have to drive in it, that is. Okay, so now we will turn our isometric grid back on in our grid settings. And we can just kind of give this whole thing a little base. So I'm going to actually pull it from here. And probably should see how that looks like without the grid, because I can't really tell otherwise. Okay, so it's kind of, yeah, I don't want to pull it over to here because then we lose the shape of our F. But if we have it here, how does that look? It looks still a bit weird, honestly. So, I could make it dark, but then we're also going to lose the shape of the F as well. So I may just have to leave it like that, actually. And then I can grab this, copy that, and I'm going to go add. So I'm going to make this whole thing one shape. And then I'm going to go, let's see, expand stroke, and then add the whole thing again together. We need the stroke in there. Okay, fine, we don't need the stroke. Okay, we'll get rid of the stroke. So now this is exactly the same as that, minus the stroke, but it's behind it. So I can go in and give it more of a stroke. So we can do that. So we can do like a, I don't know what's happening there. Hey, Affinity, what are you doing? Okay, sure. Weird. So yeah, we can add, but I think I want to have that as a different color. So we could have that make that on the bottom. And then make that the blue color. There we go. So it's just a little bit of depthiness, but it doesn't actually look like it's in the right spot. So I'm going to select all this and group it together. So Control G to group. So now it's all one big shape. And I'm going to bring this guy over here and just put it here, and then select everything, and just to make sure it's all nicely aligned. So now it's aligned center and aligned center, aligned horizontally center and vertically center. So we know it's perfectly right behind it. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And on our layers palette, it is just right here if we want to grab it again. Although I should probably name it something other than curves. We'll call it undershape. Undershape. Okay, so we have our undershape, and hey, undershape. So we can adjust the stroke from here, and it's still doing that weird thing. Stop doing that. It's so annoying. Okay, let's have it at 15. Is 15 a good round number? Yeah, okay. That's annoying. And we could give it another stroke if we like. So, which will kind of take away some of this weirdness under here. So I'm going to click Alt and drag that so it copies. And I'm going to go expand stroke. And I'm going to again do the whole thing together. This time with the stroke though. And then I'm going to make it go underneath. And I'm going to give it another stroke. Let's bring that one back to the back again. I have no idea if this is going to work at all, so we're just testing it out. Move to back. And this one we are going to we can make it the dark color again, and then bring the stroke up a lot. Ooh, yeah. This is actually a good exercise for when you're doing logos and the logos just aren't really working. Like it's a really good symbol. You like the symbol, but it just needs something. You can try giving it like multiple kind of strokes at varied stroke widths, just to kind of see if it works. Also, it often works if you're doing like a negative logo, and you just it doesn't work in negative, like it's a face or something, and you're not really sure how it's going to work when it's white on black rather than black on white kind of thing. And then adding like multiple strokes and stuff like this usually helps, and it kind of keeps it a bit more contained than it would, because sometimes you can really lose a lot of the definition of like a face or something if there's a face in your logo, or like an animal's face or something like that. Hopefully that made sense. It's hard for me to like explain it without actually having any visual examples of that, but hopefully you got it. So all right, so now we have our shape and then our stroke on top of our other stroke. Now, what do we think? Do we like that? Or was it better like that? We might not actually need this one. What we could do, because why not, is make it like super blurry, because fog. Yeah, just blur it to pieces. Well, now it looks like it's jumping off the page, which I don't hate. Ooh, it's jumping. Okay, what about outer shadow? Now I'm just going to experiment with all the layers, all the layer effects, just to see what they all look like. It's like early days of Photoshop. I'm just going to try out everything. Ooh, everything. No, don't do that. Try the blur. Nope. Do not preserve alpha. Okay. Well, I like the drop shadow. I like that it's foggy. Normally you wouldn't have a drop shadow in logo because it's not going to reproduce well like anywhere. But this isn't really a logo. This is more of like a fun isometric word. So this is more, I guess, typography. That being said, it is basically a monogram. So we can just maybe take the drop shadow away. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay. All right. So why don't we leave it at that, unless there's anything else you want to experiment with. I could try using the other blue color, seeing if that works. Nope, that's worse. It's way worse. So let's go back to that one. Can make it a lot thicker. That's not bad. Again, it does kind of help solve the problem of why is this doing this? I hope I'm not the only one who can see that it's doing that, because sometimes software will like glitch, but it's only showing up on your monitor and it's not actually recording. So I just sound like a nut job when it's doing it because no one else can see. Anyway, what about 10? What did we have? What's the other one at? Let's see. What's this one at? 3? No, it's not at 3. Is it 3? Okay, so the stroke of the inner one is at 3. Well, that one at 3 isn't going to be quite what we need. So probably 6 if we want it to look. Yeah, 6 works. Okay. So I think we'll go with that. Now, what else should we do to it, or are we done? Well, one thing I don't really like is the square. I feel like that's kind of a focal point that we don't really need to have in here. So I'm going to take that away. It's still a focal point, unfortunately, so I think we need to do something about that. Okay, so that is just, there's just nothing there. So easy fix, we can actually just make a shape and put it there. Make sure it is the same color that we want it to be, and just shimmy it where we need it to be, right there. And that looks a bit better. Now, we could also have that, I just whacked my elbow. We could have that as like a lighter color. Or we could have that as the white. No, well, the whole thing is the white. So why don't we just keep it at, yeah, I'll just keep it at that. So then it's not quite as, it's not taking away all the attention from the O, basically. So it reads F-O-G, and it'd be cool if we put some nice fog in front here. We could put some nice fog in front. Should we? Should we? Kind of liking that better. Ooh, tough decisions, man. Oh my goodness. Well, what if we just added some very simple illustration elements, like some clouds, because fog is clouds. And we do have this sweet cloud tool where we can just click on it and draw an isometric cloud. However, that's more of like a comic book speech bubble, so I don't think we want that. Now we could play around with these, but that's not really helping. And the bubbles, again, not really helping at all. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to just unselect edit in plane. Unselect, thank you. Going to go down here, and I'm just going to draw it normal like that, and take away some of the bubbles like that. Do we like that? 8 bubbles. I think 8 bubbles works. Maybe less bubbles. 12. What did we have? 7 bubbles. Yeah, 7 bubbles work. And I'm just going to kill the bottom of it like that. So in that one, I will divide that. So we have one little cloud. So we can see how that's going to look. I can just go fit to plane, front, and then fit to plane, and make it small and cute. And then we've got some clouds hanging around, although the stroke width on that is way too big. So change that to a stroke of 3. Yeah, we've got some cute little clouds here. Okay, so what if we change that to maybe something smaller? That's what we already had, isn't it? Yeah. I like the 3. Okay, why don't we just do this one? But we're going to make it slightly lighter, like that, or maybe darker. Yeah, foggier or something. Were we missing, where's our colors? I mean, we changed these colors anyway, so maybe we won't use them. Okay, well, that's just a gray. Yeah, gray works. Go with gray. Sure. So we have our gray cloud, our foggy cloud, and I don't necessarily need to make this actually isometric, because I could double it and then send that to the back. Range, move to back, and then draw some shapes in between, which we could do. I'm not sure if it's necessary because that reads as a cloud, and you don't really need to have the depth in the clouds, but we could see what it looks like anyway, even though it's going to be super annoying to do. Because these are curvy shapes. Yeah. Let's do it anyway. So I'm going to drag that shape to that shape and just do like that. And let's see, I'm going to save that. And I want that one to be with that. And is that our shape? No, we need something over here, don't we? Yeah, we need like that line to go to here and then there. And then, ooh, not great. Really not great. Let's undo that. Sorry, this isn't making any sense. This is all just like what I'm trying to figure out is going to work in my head, which isn't necessarily what's actually going to work. Okay, like that. And then, yeah, it's not great. Okay, we might just not do that at all because it's annoying and it's unnecessary. Okay, goodbye that. We'll just keep things simple here. Okay, a little bit of cloud, a little bit of foggy fog. So some clouds over here, some clouds there. And we want to make them some bigger ones and some smaller ones. I can take off the snapping because we just don't need it on. We just don't. And some cute little ones up here. I could also go down here. No, that's actually pretty symmetrical. I was going to flip it, but it's super symmetrical anyway. There's not going to be much point in flipping it. We can just put that over, maybe over the G. Like, maybe like that. Just have it right under there. We'll make this go over here in case I decide to use more clouds later. And let's see, we can have another little tiny cloud over here next to our other one there, and maybe one up here. And another little one there. Okay, now let's take off I didn't even notice, we've got margins on. I don't really need those to be on. There we go, disappeared. So much nicer now. There we go. Okay, so should I change the color of some of these clouds? Maybe. This is not even remotely necessary, but it's kind of fun to do. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's better. Just a little bit of something more interesting in here. A little bit of variety. For our fog word. Now I did a previous animation that was air, and I made like a little air factory. So I did AIR. And then we had like a little tree factory where the trees come in and the air comes out, which is like a fun kind of play on an isometric monogram logo like this. But that was a little more involved. That was definitely a little bit more illustrative. You can see that video in my somewhat recent videos anyway, if you're curious. That one is a speed design though, so it's just me doing it super, super quick rather than talking you through exactly how I did it, which would definitely have been better for my throat because my throat is just destroying me right now. But I think I like this because it's cute, and you can still make this a bit crazier. Like you can add like some more wafting fogs and some fun little lines and stuff. And you can really get kind of crazy with this and make it a little bit more illustrative than it currently is. I'm undecided on that. But yeah, so it's just like a fun activity to practice some isometric letters and how the letters fit together, and some fun stuff you can do. So I hope this has been fun. I like this because it's a silly little like pointless but fun activity to do, just because I really like drawing isometric everything. And yeah, that's about it. I just like doing isometric stuff because it's super fun, and it's just like it's like a logical art for me. And I always struggle with art because like art is very creative and it's not very logical, and I need things to be logical, otherwise they don't make any sense. But this is just like, this is math and art. Not that I'm good with math, I'm terrible at math, but it just still makes a bit more sense, if you know what I mean. I don't even know if I'm making any sense, but yeah, so I think we are done. I'm just like deciding now on what background color to use. I don't hate that, but then my clouds are getting kind of lost. I could make this just like a little bit lighter. Ooh, gray. Yeah, no, gray's nice. Actually, the blue isn't bad. Okay, we're gonna go with that because it's foggy. And I'm going to center my art, which will take it off the grid. So if I want to make any more changes, I'll probably have to move it back onto the grid. but that's okay for now. It's nice and cute inside here. And if I want to add anything else, then I can just go back in and add a blurry blur. No, I'm honestly not hating the drop shadow. I'm really not. It's kind of working for me. Yeah. So what if we gave all of these clouds little bitty drop shadows? I'm sorry, I was supposed to be done, but then I remembered drop shadows exist. So did that work? Oh no, I forgot it's just, right. Of course it's going to do that. I didn't even press drop shadow. Okay. Where's our drop shadow? Outer shadow. Outer shadow is drop shadow. My bad. So we want to, what do we want? We want a radius, intensity. Where is it going? Offset. Okay, that is the wrong angle. We want it over here. No, we don't actually. We don't want it at an angle. We want no offset, and we want, let's see, radius big, intensity big. Nope, not that big, too big. And then bring the opacity down a little bit. So that looks kind of similar to what we have here, but it's still a little different. So maybe I need to bring the radius up a bit. And the opacity down. Opacity. Okay. Yeah. Yep, you got some clouds. We got some fun stuff happening. And it's the word fog. It's simple and it's silly, but it is fun. So I hope you enjoyed making the word fog with me in isometric illustration in Affinity Designer. Bye.